It was a weapon the world had never witnessed before. The V-2 rocket, a terrifying invention that would strike fear across nations and ultimately pave the way for the space age. But how did America secretly smuggle a Nazi officer to secure its mission to the moon? This is the shocking story of the weapon that changed the fate of the world, the V-2 rocket. Today, we'll uncover the incredible events of World War II and the years that followed. But there's always been one lingering question. If a third world war were to happen, what would it look like? Werner von Braun, who would one day become the mastermind behind modern rocketry, was born in 1912 in a small town in East Prussia. From a young age, he was drawn to the mysteries of space. By the 1920s, rocket experiments were already being conducted, first on cars, then on small planes, and even on people, though those tests often failed. In 1923, Hermann Oberth published The Rocket into Planetary Space, a book that mathematically proved space travel was possible. This work fascinated young von Braun, igniting his obsession with the idea of reaching the stars. Around the same time, writers like Jules Verne fueled imaginations with tales of lunar voyages, while Russian mathematician Konstantin Tsiolkovsky developed the rocket equation that explained how thrust and mass related. In 1926, Robert Goddard launched the world's first liquid-fueled rocket, marking a new era. But Germany, bound by the Treaty of Versailles after World War I, was restricted in conventional weaponry. This left room for new technologies to flourish, and rockets were among them. By the early 1930s, von Braun was working in Berlin with like-minded enthusiasts. Soon, his talents drew the attention of the German army. In 1932, he began working under the military, just months before Adolf Hitler rose to power. Hitler was captivated by the promise of rockets, weapons that could deliver destruction at unprecedented speed. Yet von Braun's true dream was always space exploration. Still, to pursue his work, he had no choice but to cooperate with the Nazi regime. In 1937, the secret testing facility at Peenemünde was built, so secure that the world's first closed-circuit television system was invented there to monitor rocket launches from a safe distance. Von Braun became technical director of rocket development, and the site grew into a massive operation with over 12,000 workers. At first, rockets powered by solid fuel proved unstable. Only by switching to liquid fuel could they be controlled. In 1938, von Braun officially joined the Nazi Party, and later the SS. By 1942, after countless failed tests, the V-2 rocket successfully flew to an altitude of 90 kilometers, the first human-made object to reach the edge of space. Hitler demanded these rockets be weaponized, but British spies soon discovered Peenemünde. In 1943, Allied bombers struck, forcing production to move underground into vast tunnels worked by slave laborers. Conditions were brutal. Thousands perished. Still, by 1944, hundreds of V-2s were rolling off the lines every month. That September, London was struck. Over the next 6 months, more than 3,000 V-2 rockets rained down on Britain, Belgium, France, and the Netherlands, causing immense destruction. Americans feared Hitler might soon develop rockets capable of reaching the US, but in 1945, Germany collapsed. Von Braun fled south with his plans, deliberately surrendering to American rather than Soviet forces. Under the top-secret Operation Paperclip, von Braun and his team were brought to the US. Despite his Nazi past, he would now build rockets not for war, but for space. At White Sands, New Mexico, the Americans tested captured V-2s, laying the foundation for their own rocket program. In 1957, the Soviet Union shocked the world with Sputnik 1. In response, the U.S. established NASA in 1958. 2 years later, von Braun and his team officially joined the agency. While the Soviets led with the first satellite, first animal, and first human in orbit, they stumbled when it came to landing on the moon. Meanwhile, von Braun's masterpiece, the Saturn V, carried Apollo 11 astronauts to the lunar surface in 1969. John F. Kennedy's promise was fulfilled. The irony was staggering. A former SS officer, responsible for a weapon that killed thousands, was celebrated in America as a hero of the space race. As von Braun himself once said, history had turned him from a man building weapons of terror into the architect of humanity's first steps beyond Earth. But was America truly the sole victor of the Cold War space race? Or was it all part of a greater illusion? Watch closely and decide for yourself.